What's going on, everybody? You are live with Osiris, and welcome to Feel Good Happiness. Hey, I hope everyone out there is having a great time today. I am feeling really good today because I have a special guest with me on today's episode. It is my niece, my sobrina, Flaca M. That's how I'm going to introduce her anyway, her author name. I'm not going to go with her government name, but Flaca M. Got an upcoming book coming up in January. It's titled Adi's Wish. I will give you all more details on that, but it is a children's book, and it is such a heartfelt, soulful book. But Flaca, go ahead, say something.
Hi, guys.
Before I get started with what I'm going to have her on this episode for, I want to provide a fun fact. Okay, hold on. Give me a moment. Bear with me here. Okay, so I got the source here. This is going to come from hellosubs.co. So I will link that in the description of this episode. But fun fact, bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't. I didn't even have a clue that was a thing, but let me read you what the description says about this. It might sound bananas, but it's true. Botanically, bananas are classified as berries, while strawberries aren't. Strawberries are actually considered aggregate fruits because they form from multiple ovaries of a single flower. So next time you're munching on a banana, remember you're eating a berry. It's crazy, man. I read that verbatim, so don't worry, don't plagiarize it for anything. I'm just reading it from the website that I will link into this description, as I said earlier. Anyway, so now that I have that out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So my sobrina, which is Spanish for niece, she is in high school right now. So the reason why I wanted her on is because I wanted her to answer a few questions that I had. As the title, if this episode entails it being get out of your head, you know, me as an adult, being around other adults, doing things with business and with work, many times we are in our heads for whatever the reason is. But I'm curious to know what it is like in high school and what her perspective is on what she sees in school. So, Flaca M, question for you. When it comes to just what you observe in school, how often do you see people in their own head?
Pretty often, especially if they give out like lots of assignments to teachers and they have like a project due like the next day, and then there's like multiple assignments due the next day and they have one project. That's pretty often.
With that being said, right, because I remember when I was in school, you know, tests was always a thing that always put people's stress levels up. I mean, heck, I still get stressed a lot when that happens with me when it comes to tests. I have a test next month, actually. So, yeah, I can relate to that. But it seems now, you know, with school and how people are with teenagers and all the teenage love and relationships and all the sports and people want to get involved in that, there's so many distractions. But I guess for you, what keeps you in your own head when it comes to schoolwork?
Maybe like I don't understand it. It's hard, especially the teachers that don't teach it to you. They just hand it out to you. I think like, why am I doing this? Is it going to help me throughout my life?
I think what you're saying is actually some good points as well. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing teachers because that's not the point of what I'm saying, but some teachers have difficulties teaching to students. They know the material, but they don't know how to articulate it in a manner that's effective, or they don't necessarily know the style of their student in which the student benefits most from when it comes to learning. So I hear you on that. So I guess the biggest thing is, you know, when you see people are in their own heads, what has helped you to get out of your own mind, get out of your own head, and to be able to just do better or continue to move forward?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe like, I don't know.
All right, now that's fair. That's fair. You might not have the answers, but I think you'll know when the time happens. You know, you'll know when you are in a situation that causes for you to kind of like think on your feet for it. Now that's fair, because even for me, sometimes I'm not entirely certain on what I'm doing to be able to help. And for full disclosure, everybody, I forgot to point this out. I have her on my phone. So if it's not obvious by now, we're doing this from her phone. So this is the most effective route I could take to do it. And I kind of just asked her like a few minutes ago if she wouldn't mind doing this. And she smiled and she said yes, but I don't know. I don't know if she thought I was serious or not, but hey, we're doing it. These are always fun, but this is going to be, these are memories as well. But honestly, one of the reasons why I thought it was good to bring her on is just her perspective, right, from somebody that's in high school, 15-year-old mind, right, versus myself, a 35-year-old mind in the working world, and seeing the differences and seeing how things intertwine with the youth and those who are much older. That there's a common denominator in all of this, and that is most people tend to stay locked in their own mind. They are a prisoner of their own thought process, and it prohibits them to be able to proceed and move in a direction that they could be moving in had they not been in their own mind. So I guess, are there people, right, that you know, Sabrina, that you know that you feel don't struggle with being in their own minds? And if so, what do they do exactly to not be in their own head?
Well, I do have a friend. Well, you may or may not have known her or talked to her, but it looks like she's not in her own mind because she does like lots of stuff, sports, etc. That helps her a lot, and listens to music and does the thing like she really likes to do. That's what keeps her going.
Sports. You bring up a good point, and you're making me think when it comes to sports, one of the more prominent factors with people when it comes to anything is the art of distraction, especially for athletes. Athletes are distracted with their athleticism and what they are being athletic in. For example, people who play soccer, like your friend, I know who you're talking about, right? Like where your friend and her playing soccer, that's a good source of relief or a good distraction. If she's not doing schoolwork, then she's focused on training and getting better as a soccer player. People, in retrospect, the same can be said for basketball players or people who play football or people who play tennis or golf or any sort of sport. They're focused on that. But in this notion, what happens if the person isn't necessarily an athlete? What can they be distracted with? Now, you are an artist as well. You are a creative person. So how have you been able to distract yourself creatively?
Like in general, like what I do?
See.
I like distracts me. Like I like to like color, draw. I like to listen to music while do like my diamond art and making bracelets. That has to distract me a lot. I go to the gym.
Oh yeah, you're a fitness guru. Fitness, you've been exercising for a long time. But I want something to be known here. What she said. She said that she likes to do art. She said many things, but one of the things I want you all to take away is that she does art and she exercises. Whatever your art form is certainly up to the person and whatever art form they decide to take on. Exercise. I exercise frequently. I just met a 62-year-old man named Tony at the gym, and he told me that many of his friends that he's met are either on bed rest, they're dying, or they have passed away. And he didn't want to be in a situation like that. So here you are, a 15-year-old, a 35-year-old, and a 62-year-old saying the same thing. Fitness, exercise, working out, however you verbalize it, it means the same thing. You absolutely need to incorporate exercise into your daily habits, whether you do it daily or you do some form of exercise where it stimulates the mind. Now, not to get off topic, but that's important when it comes to being able to not be in your head as much or being a prisoner of your own mind. The art of distraction, part of it does come from being equipped with the knowledge of exercise and being able to actually execute exercise as well. The more sharp you are mentally, the better equipped you will be to not being in your head as much. Some people who like to exercise feel that sense of relief, of stress. It just dissipates and you don't have to be concerned with it as much. The same can be said when you are into your art. When you, like for myself, just writing. I love to write. I love to be in that creative headspace. And when Flaca and I, when we were working on her book together, that was a sense of relief. And she's working on has a novella. That was a sense of relief. But I've actually seen her in action working on her arts, coloring with her and just talking to her. And that's just a good sense of distraction. So what I want the youth to know, those in middle school and in high school, you may not be in positions where you can really dictate where you want to go in life. But if you have tools at your dispense, such as art or something that you enjoy that can keep you distracted, you're less likely to be stuck in your head. And if you get to that point where you're stuck in your head, you need to have somebody who can reel you back in to help get you out of your head and get you back into the game, get you back into the fight. Just like Tony was talking to me about, he was telling me the same thing. Like, he has his wife and he has his mom who keeps him in check. I have my wife, I have my children, I have my sobrina, and I have my immediate family. We have people who can keep us in line. And ultimately, the whole goal of this episode really is to just encourage you all to find ways to get out of your head and live a better life, and a life that you can feel is worth living and worth moving forward in, and just living a happy life and not being so stuck in your mind. Because you can be in a room full of thousands of people, but the loudest voice is in your head. And you can hear all these voices around, but you can still be lonely. You can still be in a position where you don't see anybody, even though you have hundreds of people surrounding you. And it's important for you to exercise that strength in your mind to be able to get out of your mind and live a life that you feel like is worth living. And then that's all I got to say about that. Sabrina, you got anything you want to add?
Life is too short to be stressing.
Hey, words of the wise. And on that note, I appreciate you all so much for taking the time out of your day to tune into today's episode. You're live with Osiris and Flaca, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.